How strong and skillful is Edward Kenway? Well, let's analyze everything Edward Kenway went through in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag that makes him stand out and shows he's a strong and skillful assassin. At the beginning of the game, Edward Kenway and his fellow crewmates are battling against other ships that want to sink them, and in the midst of battle we see an assassin. After sinking all the ships, you get to see a cutscene where their ship is about to blow up, but then the assassin pops out of nowhere, assassinates the pirate captain. Right there you see the assassin and Edward Kenway face to face until the ship blows up and everyone including Edward and the assassin get blown out of the ship. Now get this, everyone who got blown up from the ship didn't survive. Only Edward and the assassin named Duncan Walpole. Now that there is impressive. To be 100% okay after that explosion is crazy, and Edward was the only one who was 100% okay. That shows you right there that Edward Kenway is physically strong. Edward and the assassin Duncan Walpole reached the shore after that explosion. Then Duncan tried to kill Edward with the pistol, but the pistol wasn't working. So Duncan ran away and Edward chased him down. Duncan Walpole joined the assassins in 1700, so Duncan has been an assassin for 15 years, and in those 15 years Duncan had assassin training and years to hone his skills and to even improve them. 15 years is a lot of years. I mean, it's 5,475 days, mate. So you can safely say Duncan Walpole is a full-fledged professional and skillful assassin, but he got killed by a pirate who has never had any assassin training or combat at all. This pirate killed an assassin who has 15 years of training behind him, and this pirate's name is Edward Kenway. That there shows Edward Kenway is a very skillful assassin. Edward Kenway took Duncan Walpole's identity and used it to infiltrate the Templars meeting and was able to trick all of them into believing who he is, which is impressive. He basically went undercover to achieve a fortune. The Templars even gave Edward the hidden blades, which he has never used, and asked him to demonstrate how an assassin uses them. Edward demonstrated how to use them and he performed wonderfully, and they were so impressed. But there was a time where Edward Kenway's cover was ruined in this cutscene.
Good morning, Duncan. Just over here. Edward? Hello, Edward. I found a man to purchase my remaining sugar. Quite a coup, I must say.
He just called you Edward.
Oh, that's the merchant who sailed me here. Out of caution, I gave him a false name.
Ah, well done.
We'll catch up on it later.
After watching that, you can see Edward is so skillful when it comes to blending in and going undercover, which takes years to master, but in one go he got it spot on. Edward even infiltrated the governor's house in order to free the sage. He was able to assassinate the guards from the shadows, from the corners, and the haystacks, just like assassins do, and Edward has never trained to do this. It just came to him naturally. Still to this day, 11 years later, it still amazes me. So when Edward infiltrated the house to speak with the sage, he got caught by the Templars and was thrown into the prison ships. Edward and Adewale freed themselves, and Edward freed all the prisoners on every ship and told them to join him in using a brig ship to escape the prison ships and the hurricane. After all that, Edward became a captain of his own ship. Edward was able to convince the men he freed to join him into piloting a ship to escape the hurricane, and Edward piloted the ship so well that he managed to escape a hurricane that sunk many ships. Edward has necessary skills to pilot a ship, and he used his ship to conquer many forts and loot many ships he sunk. Edward was able to sneak in an assassin hideout without being detected by one assassin to meet up with Captain James Kidd. You can see Edward's stealth skills are above the average assassin's stealth skills. I find it crazy not one of the assassins spotted him. You could say Edward Kenway is a prodigy. Imagine if Edward was trained. Edward would be one of the deadliest assassins who ever lived. No wonder Captain Kidd wanted Edward to join the Assassin Brotherhood. There was a time where Mentor Atabay's assassins and Edward's crew were captured by British soldiers. You get to see Edward freeing his crew and the assassins swiftly. Mentor Atabay, who is the mentor of the assassins in the West Indies, said that Edward has remarkable skills, even though the mentor didn't like him. Captain Kidd gave Edward a blowpipe, and Edward knew how to use it easily without anyone teaching him how to use it. Mentor Atabay even gave Edward a rope dart and didn't teach him how to use it, but Edward knew how to use it very effectively. Edward has a gift knowing how to use weapons without having any training of how to use them. I think that's what makes him stand out from other assassins. I would like to point out that Edward is the only assassin to capture a Grand Master Templar and use the Grand Master Templar for his own goals, which was smart until it lost it. Edward also has the best tracking skills in my opinion. Edward was tracking down the sage all over. He used every piece of information he would get and receive about the sage in order to find him. Edward found the sage before the Templars and assassins, who have more resources than Captain Kenway. That there is truly something to be proud of. If this doesn't show you Edward is a prodigy, I don't know what will. There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching until the end of this video. Like, comment, share and subscribe because I'll be uploading more videos like this in the future.